All right. Okay, well, welcome to our second class, which is really our first class. I really appreciate the patience y'all have had with this semester so far. It is starting to feel eerily like a repeat of last semester where there was so many snow days, then I got COVID, and then I got strep again. And so hopefully we're done after this week. We're good to go and we can roll through it. So I know for those of you who were here last spring, you know what this semester was like. So anyway, I appreciate your ability to be flexible. We're going to kind of do a little hodgepodge of things today. We're going to go over the syllabus and talk about all of those kind of expectations just to give yourselves some grounding. And then whatever questions that we have, we can chat about them. Then we're going to move into very, very briefly talking about research design, but before going further into proposals, since that will be your first project and that will be what you build from throughout the semester. And then if we have time, I'm just going to touch on trustworthiness and generalizability, which are two facets of qualitative research in general, well, all research. But if we don't, I have some videos that I can share with you about that. We don't spend a lot of time talking about concepts like trustworthiness and generalizability because what you believe about those concepts depends on where you stand epistemologically, as well as the type of methodology you use. So without further ado, I'm going to just get us rolling because we're going to first start by getting to know each other a little bit. You would think after so many semesters of being online, I could remember how to work things. Hold on 1 second. Okay, now I have to find you. I also have 3 PowerPoints open, so I'm getting a little bit lost in my own over preparation. Okay, all right, my friends, let me share my screen, do the whole thing. Okay. And is it a Zoom meeting if someone doesn't say to you, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Okay. So let's do this. So as I mentioned, we're going to do just some introductions, get to know each other, and then go through the expectations. John Dewey is a big favorite person of mine within inquiry. This is a really sweet quote of his, and this is what we're going to be doing throughout this semester. We're going to put our world in peril because I want us to shake up our paradigms and how we think about research and inquiry. So first, for some of you who have met before, this is a bit of a repeat. I do want to just give you a little bit of background about myself because this is important as we continue to talk about the role of reflexivity and subjectivity in qualitative research. I am an assistant professor here. I am halfway through my 3rd year. I'm a critical qualitative methodologist. And my work primarily looks at deconstructing whiteness and colonialism within inquiry spaces. How do we make methods of research less oppressive, basically, is sort of the long and the short of it. It took me a long road to get here. Ever since I was a little girl, I said I wanted to be an artist, and I specifically wanted to be a writer. I didn't really understand writing, and I really kind of sucked at writing. And so I went into the 2-dimensional arts and get my bachelor's in painting and my first master's in printmaking. I entered NYU. My first week of classes for my graduate studies was September 9th, 2001. So I had grown up in South Carolina, went to college in Arizona, moved to New York, and was there for 9/11, and that changed my whole world. Up to then, I had been pretty naive about how injustice and justice worked, and I had pretty pretty well limited worldview in terms of that. And so after that, I became very involved in community activism, started out mostly in protest spaces, and then later ended up with me being a lobbyist in the state of Georgia. So sort of running the gamut of what activism can look like. I graduated from NYU. I didn't really know what to do with myself. I knew I didn't really want to be an artist after 9/11. Like a lot of things shook my worldview, but I didn't know what else to do because that's what I had spent my whole life focused on. And after I graduated, I received an artist in residence to go live in Amsterdam for a year. And the goal of that project was to create portraits of sex workers from a critical feminist lens. So those of you who are familiar with the arts, it's very common for back in the day for male artists to use women, especially prostitutes, as quote unquote muses. And so this was going to be sort of turning that idea on the head and actually being in the room with the women and learning about their lives. So at that time, I became really aware that what I was more interested in was their lives, how they sort of just were in and out of spaces. And because I had come up in an arts program, I didn't really know of this thing called qualitative research. So I thought, well, clearly I want to be a therapist because I'm so interested in people and their lived experience. Went back to school, became a family therapist. So for my counselors in the group, you know that is like a very specific field within the talk therapy and helping profession. I did that for many years. And while I was working, I worked primarily at a low to no income agency in Atlanta. And what I kept encountering was how many of the problems that the women, I worked with women who had lost parental rights of their children due to addictions. And so they were court mandated to be there to get their parental rights back if that's what they wanted. And so what I kept noticing was that so many of their, the challenges that they faced felt political to me. It felt very policy laden, sort of barriers were being set up that made it hard for them to succeed in with all of their goals. And this led me back to my return to get my PhD. I was going to specialize in family policy and family therapy to look at how therapists could become political actors. Oh, and this gets us to now finally why we're all here. In that first year, I had my first qualitative class ever, first day of the semester, and it felt like my mind broke open and finally it all made sense. And from that moment on, I have pursued first becoming a qualitative researcher and then a qualitative methodologist. And in qualitative methodologies, I found my home and my excuse to be the writer that the little girl in me always knew I wanted to be. So that's a lot. Thank you for that. I'm also a person who loves her people, and my people are predominantly animals. I've got Big Papa, my cat. He makes a lot of appearances and slides and whatnot. Right here, the video is not working, but this is, let's see, we can get it to go. I think my internet's just a little wrist jumpy. Whoa, yeah, it's super jumpy. So that is my potentially foster dog. It was my mom's dog. She passed away. We're taking care of him until my dad feels ready to accept his dog. But I have a feeling he's going to be mine. And then this is my husband, Steven, and this is the frog that we've adopted that he doesn't know that we've adopted him, that he is living his best life in our yard. He currently has 2 homes and 2 pools, and he gets little fresh bug trees that we feed him every once in a while. Anyway, so these are my people. Okay, now it is going to be your turn. I know that y'all have done a little bit of meet and greet online, and I appreciate the interaction on Blackboard. I am going to have you again pair up or triple up. Let me see, we've got 14, so perfect for pairing. And I'm going to have y'all just answer some ideas about who you are, how you describe your personality, how you've come to know yourself in this way, and the kind of thinking that you are drawn to. So I'm going to pull this up so I can put it in the chat box, and then I'm going to split you into groups. Ooh, there you go. All right, and we're just going to take a few minutes to do this. Hopefully you will get paired with someone that you have not already met, but if you do, then that's good too. And I completely forgot how to do breakout rooms. Oh my gosh, there we are. All right, so just take a few minutes and have a little chit chat with everybody. Let me know if that did not show up in your chat screen or if you've forgotten or whatever. And I'll be right here. It always cracks me up when everybody just starts coming back all at once. Okay, my friends, so we are going to now, I'd just like for us to introduce ourselves. I'm not going to have you introduce each other because I would have a panic attack if someone made me do that because I can't remember anything. But what I want to do is kind of divide us into who are my linear and structured people, my thinkers. Okay, I got some people like, maybe. All right, so let me have my linear structured people go ahead. And then just one at a time. Sarah, I saw your hand first. Just introduce yourself, your program, anything you want to tell, let us know about yourself at all. It's your space.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah. I'm in the higher education PhD program in my second year. My cat will be here at some point. She wanders through. Her name is Sophia. She has one eye, so I call her my pirate cat. If she yells while we're talking and my mic is off, it will sound like she's dying, so everybody just be prepared for that. She sings the song of her people. I don't know why sometimes. I am a more linear structured thinker, I will be honest. I'm the director of advising in my day job for the College of Business. So most of that is like, this is what you do to stay on track unless something explodes and then we have to try and find a solution. So it's not that I don't do the ambiguity and stuff, but that is not the way I lead in my life. So
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, and I appreciate your pirate cat. I can't wait to meet her and hear her sing-song lovely voice. Thank you. And then Kobe, I think you are my only other one.
Yes, my name is Kobina. You could call me Kobe. First year PhD student doing agriculture, communication, and technology. And I would say I'm a linear thinker because of my background. I'm more like a scientific person. I try to relate the dots to reasons why things happen. And most of my experience with work back in Ghana too are related to field works and lab experiments. So I'm kind of like studying or have studied stuff that have cause and effect. So I kind of like think towards that way, that you like kind of like think about other things that could actually affect certain procedures. So that's what I think has made me so.
Yeah, cause and effect. Newsflash, there will be none of that discussion in here. So Kobe, that's in your seatbelt. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. No, I'm and also y'all, I think I'm funny and I like to play. So just know I have the utmost respect for each and every one of you. Okay. But yeah, no, so obviously causality, effects, influence, this is all stuff that we really position being more of a quantitative kind of place. But we're going to talk a little bit about how you can translate that if that is something you're interested in and what we can look at. Do I have any more, or people who are like, some things yes, some things no? Okay,
yeah, hi.
So let's move. Oh, yep.
Enoch. So Enoch is on the floor. My name is Enoch Amitepe. From Ghana, West Africa, in my first year PhD in agricultural education, communication, and technology. I'm concentrating more on ag communications and education. I would say that I'm also kind of linear in thinking, and I believe that, yeah, that is my kind of way of thinking. Considering my background, my master's, I did purely quantitative. And I believe in working with figures and seeing results to be able to describe what is going on. That's a little bit about myself. Thank you.
Thank you. I am impressed with how many AgCom people we've got this semester. It's great. So we're going to talk about being linear and structured and what that looks like, because that also happens in qualitative inquiry and certain methodologies. And so we're going to return to that. So hold that thought. All right, who are my in-betweeners? All right, okay. A lot of in-betweeners, great. My in-betweeners, I'm gonna let y'all duke it out. One of you just unmute and
go. I'll go. So my name is Heather Coleman. I am third year, first semester in my doc program for counselor education and supervision. I struggled in which of the two I was. I feel like where I landed was when I need things to be simplistic, I fall into linear, like that feels like my comfort zone. But I really am drawn to the other space when I can. That's really what I want to integrate. And so that's where I kind of went back and forth. I felt like it kind of depended on the situation and what was being called for that. Um, Professionally, I feel like that reflects I'm an LPC in Oklahoma, so I'm a counselor. And so I feel like that duality of the two different spaces really does kind of fit me. So that's where I struggled a little bit with choosing one of the two.
Absolutely. And I do think for those who are in the therapeutic fields, counseling fields, there's a lot of ambiguity that occurs within those spaces. Thank you. All right, who's my next in-betweener?
I'll go next to popcorn off Heather. I'm Alicia Reeves. I'm in my second-ish year of the PhD program for counselor education and supervision. I'm both. I'm really good with like the ambiguous, and I'm really good with like people, my clients especially, bringing that big mess to me and then sorting out how to make it linear. And so that's kind of where I'm in between. And so I'm fine with both. I do like to get to a linear, but I'm okay with the big mess.
Good. You'll be great with qualitative data, which is a big mess that you have to make in some way, shape, or form something akin to linear. You at least have to get it structured enough that you can say something about it.
Well, I would
Okay.
like to talk about myself also. So I'm in my second year PhD program, agricultural education, communication, and technology. And I'm trying to do more of the technology part. So currently, I don't know if I fall in linear or the mercy part, because my whole thing is I should just get a problem solved. So how to go about it, I don't be like, I need to follow this, I need to do it this way. Like, I just want to get it done. So whatever just pops in, I just follow it. And I'm Henry.
Okay, great. I like that. I like, you just got to sometimes get right through, and usually the straightest way is just like the most linear path. But maybe being open to falling off the path every once in a while and wandering around, if that is the goal of the course, which, let me tell you, spoiler alert, the goal of the class is that y'all get very, very lost at some point. And don't worry, we will find your way.
Cool, thanks.
So if you start feeling lost, just know you're doing the right thing.
Good.
I'll go. So I am Stephanie, and I am in my third year of the higher ed PhD program. I have 2 degrees in English, so I definitely am more of a creative thinker. Like, I feel like I have to say that, but I was kind of with Heather, just kind of, it depends on the situation, because I taught English for 10 years. And so in my classroom, I was definitely more linear in thinking as far as, my lesson plans and how things would go. But obviously when we interpreted literature or, anything like that, it was more creative. And I'm definitely a person who likes to question things. And so I feel like I'm both. It just kind of depends on what situation that I am in. But everyone tells me that I'm gonna love qualitative. Everyone that's had it tells me I'm gonna love this class. I haven't had any qualitative yet, so I am looking forward to seeing if that's true.
Awesome. And I think your background in literature will be very helpful, because the key number one thing about qualitative is words and being able to interpret words. And so you already have quite the leg up, I have to say.
Well, some of the stuff that we were reading, it was funny because it was reminiscent of things that I've taught before. Just like it had different terms, but it was the same thing. And so I thought, oh, well, this is probably why people thought that I would like this class because it's similar to what I have done in English. So
That's awesome. And I'll be curious to hear more going forward, because I know there's two of you with this background about how these connect, because as all of you represent very different fields than me, except for maybe my counseling folks, that have so much to learn from each and every one of you about what sort of is similar and what's different, what connects and what totally doesn't make sense. So I love it when people start making those points of connection for me to learn from. All right, who I got next?
I feel like I have to go next because I'm the other person with that background. I'm Siobhan. Hello. I'm currently the CFO for the agricultural or the archaeological survey here at the university. I only respond that I am both because I have a tendency to systematize any ambiguity that I get. I go looking for it, and I love having the rug pulled out from underneath me, but then I will attempt to reconstruct stuff. But so I would think I'm more of an ambiguous thinker because I lean towards it, because I want to be messed up, because I'm so excited about being lost. It's like the ripest opportunity for learning to me, which I really love. But yeah, I got a whole bunch of contradictions. I mean, my job is fundamentally money, which is very quantitative. I don't know if anybody knows that. But yeah, it's I negotiate that space interestingly to me. I think I'm more ambiguous, but I also recognize so much of an attempt to constrain or calculate or understand in a systematic way anything that I've messed up in my brain. So I'm super looking forward to getting lost in this class.
Awesome. And I appreciate that because I think I'm very similarly structured, where I'm actually quite comfortable in ambiguity and I love getting lost, but then I am making my map as soon as I'm lost and I'm trying to figure out where do I even want to end up? I don't know. But so I can appreciate that quite a bit. Any more in between?
Yeah, I'm Victor, my Ghanaian, and studying PhD in public policy with my major in health policy. And I think thinking pattern, I don't belong anywhere really. It depends on the situation and how to devise means to confront the situation. So I don't really belong anywhere per what I've seen about myself. I think that would be all for now. Yeah.
Don't belong in either camp, but belong everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You're a citizen of inquiry.
Yeah.
Excellent. And remind me, were you thinking that you would be doing a mixed method study? I read everybody's
Yes.
introductions and then I completely, forgot them after I responded.
Yes. My thesis in my master's degree, I used the mixed method. So yeah.
So you are a world traveler of inquiry. So you're going to be a good voice for us in here when we talk about how do we bridge these ideas, because ultimately mixed methods is about integrating things that have frequently been positioned as binary and completely opposite, which we all know is not true. They all have very similar goals. It's just the means to do them go about differently. Awesome. Other in-betweeners?
Sorry, I had some computer difficulties, but I switched to my phone for now. So I would say I'm in between. My name's Andrea. I'm in my second year, I think, of the higher ed program, PhD program. It kind of runs together once you get through the first semester. I currently serve as the director for U of A Cares. And so I don't have a counseling background, but I'm very much kind of in a counseling adjacent role now. and I thrive in the chaos. But I want to not, I want to be linear. And as much as I try to start out linear, I end up in chaos. And so I usually can pull myself out of it. Sometimes I need a little help, but it's where I think I do my best work. So I think I have to be in between for now.
Okay. Well, you're going to love a lot of qualitative because it is quite chaotic. Even if you have a very nice structured plan, chaos ensues. And so,
I love
so
it.
you might be the person that helps us along the way as all the chaos is ensuing.
Awesome.
I can go next. So my name is Smriti. I'm a second year counselor education and supervision student. Siobhan, I had you in assessment last year, I remember you. From my background, I was a biology major, and so it was a lot of like linear thought, and I've been kind of programmed a lot that way. But then I also have this huge passion for like organizational work, like event planning and stuff like that. So I feed on the chaos, I guess, and I take it and then I kind of systemize it so that way we have like a working thing going on. So it's a bit of both. I can't be in one too long. I need both in my life, I guess. So kind of in between. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of like pictured you like pinging from one side to the next, like, okay, let's be in chaos. Now let's get this systemized. Let's get back to the chaos. Awesome. Thank you. Who else? Are we moving from in between over on into complete ambiguity? All right, where are my ambiguous people? Yes.
Yeah, I too thrive in chaos. And when you're talking about getting lost, I was thinking of Tolkien's quote, "Not all who wander are lost." And it's always been a goal to be an explorer and a researcher, and in that sense, get lost and then find your way out of the metaphorical jungle. But I come from a more artistic background, and so I think of myself more as like a visual storyteller. My main gig is video production and photography, and most of that is documentary production and documentary photography. But I paint and I write, and anything I can get my hands on that's artistic is kind of what I do. But I am very used to going through hours and hours of interviews and observations and making my own assumptions out of all of those, and then building something out of those, whether it's a storyboard or a research paper or anything in between. I too come from AECT, so Henry, Enoch, and Kobe are my boys, and happy to be here with them. Yeah, so looking.
Awesome. So I'm super excited to know all of this kind of having these sort of visual artistic talents and interests, because a really large area of qualitative research is in visual studies. So when I say that we use a lot of words, we also use a lot of imagery. We use collage, we use painting, we use photography, we use videos, we use podcasts, we use digital blogs. And so a lot of qualitative research is moving into this other way of knowing that has been for so long sort of differentiated between art and science. And qualitative spaces are saying there is no actual difference. We have to engage this aspect of our mind to create both, right? Like we need a scientific sort of outlook to create art, and we need an aesthetic quality to actually create good research. And so it'll be fun, I think, for you as you go along to start thinking about how can you, and you might already be, so don't let me don't let me tell you you aren't. But for all of us who are interested in visual or fine arts or any kind of media, thinking about how can we create the methods that that speak to us, right? That make sense to us. And so so happy to have you along for the ride and looking forward to learning from you.
Thanks.
And don't
I'm ha-
worry, we'll get lost. I'll get lost all the time.
When Carly Yarber told me that you were working on Photo Voice, and then I saw Photo Voice in the syllabus, my dissertation is going to be looking at how to use fine art to increase conservation engagement. So it's perfect.
That's awesome.